Alright, guys, we've made it to Chuck versus the Imported Hard Salami, the ninth episode of both the podcast and the show Chuck. Sorry, I don't know why I had trouble saying that. I want to apologize right up front, but my voice is going to be pretty hoarse for this episode. Did a lot of yelling yesterday at a football game, so my voice probably shouldn't even be here. I'm surprised it's here. So bear with me on that. I apologize, and I'll probably be drinking a lot of water through the podcast, so I apologize for you listening to me drinking a lot of water. But we've got an important episode to discuss today, so I will forge on. Let's go ahead and get the thanks out of the way. I want to thank you guys for listening. We have, last time I checked, we had 36 subscribers, which is this is a good amount of people who just want to listen to me talk about Chuck. So I thank you if you're subscribed to the podcast. I think if you just listen, maybe to one or two. But go ahead and subscribe though if you do. Who knows? But I do want to thank you for subscribing. And let's get that number up. Let's spread the Chuck around. 99 bottles of Chuck on the wall. 99 bottles of Chuck. Take one down, pass it around. 98 bottles of Chuck on the wall. So, let's get it. Let's spread those 99 bottles of Chuck around. Alright, so let's delve into this episode. Chuck versus the Imported Hard Salami. I think for this episode of the podcast, I'm going to start out with the hit of the episode because there's a lot of relationship stuff that impacts the show. So I want to get the hit of the episode out of the way before we delve into the relationship talk. Actually, I want to save the relationship talk for the end because even though that is most of the episode, so I don't want to interrupt in the middle of a point I'm making to go, oh hey yeah, I'm supposed to do hit of the episode. So I think I'm going to do hit of the episode first. So hit of the episode. Doom 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 doom. Hit of the episode. That was my definitely my Seinfeld moment on this podcast. But the hit of the episode, not a lot of hitting in this episode. Not a lot of bad guys fighting each other, which kind of sucks. But I mean, some episodes are like that. You gotta deal with it. So I wasn't really left with much of a choice for hit of the episode, but it was a good hit. So congratulations. This week's winner of the hit of the episode for Chuck versus the imported hard salami is our very own Sarah Walker for kicking the bad guy across the face with their foot. For kicking the bad guy across the face because you can't kick with anything but your foot. So that was dumb of me to say. For kicking that bad guy in the face, escaping from the chair. She had a blade in her shoe, so that's gotta hurt a lot. It's gotta be painful. Cannot be not painful. So, once again, congratulations, Sarah Walker. Congratulations, Yvonne Strahovski, for winning as playing Sarah Walker, who won this week's episode, hit of the episode. Congratulations. For those of you keeping track at home, here is our scoreboard update. So far, we have, and remember, I didn't start this at the beginning, so the numbers aren't going to match up completely, but here we go. Hit of the episodes. Alright. Scoreboard. John Casey, 3 victories. Sarah Walker, 2 victories. Chuck, 1 victory. And then there was Laszlo who had a victory, but he doesn't count anymore. I told you I'm throwing him out. He's out of here. He's a one-day baddie. So, there's your updated scoreboard check. Make sure you mark that down and keep up with it. So here we go. we're done with hit of the episode. Hit of the episode. Well, that was hit of the episode. So let's move on to another segment that I like. It's called Song of the Episode, where we introduce you to new, not necessarily new, but the songs of Chuck, or at least my favorite song of the episode in Chuck. So if you're new to the podcast, this and hit of the episode are both recurring segments that happen every episode where I just, especially this one, I like to introduce people to the music of Chuck because I think that's one of the main reasons that people really like Chuck. It's got a strong music tie, so I mean, it's really nice to just sit back and listen to the music sometimes during an episode. But anyway, this week's episode. In this week's episode, there weren't too many original songs. Some of them were just like some tie together music that TV shows have all the time. But in this episode, I'd have to say my favorite song is definitely "My Absent Will" by Meredith Bragg. It's got that indie feel to it that I'm really, really enjoying right now. So, you heard it from here first. Paul's song of the episode for Chuck versus the Imported Hard Salami is "My Absent Will" by Meredith Bragg. And I will put a link to the song on YouTube in the description for you guys, so you can go listen to it. Or you can search it on iTunes. Either way, your choice. But that is song of the episode. Now, like I said earlier, this episode deals a lot with relationships. So we're going to push all the relationship stuff to the end of the episode. And by the end of the episode, I mean we're going to cover other topics of the episode first and leave all the relationship stuff at the end. Because there's a lot of relationship stuff in this episode. And I'd rather just cover all that together so I can go from point A to point B without having to go to point C, D, E, F. So, so let's start with the bad guy of the episode. Now, he's an okay bad guy. And he gets that okay bad guy because his name is Stavros. And I think that is just a perfect Greek name. And it's funny to me. I don't know why. There's nothing really funny about his name. It's just Stavros, but I find it kind of funny. So he's an okay bad guy in my mind. Even though he's really not necessarily the full bad guy. I mean, his dad is really kind of the bad guy in this situation. Stavros is more just the bad guy in this episode because he used to date Lou and still helps Lou out. So that's what makes him the bad guy. So that's what I think about Stavros and Papa Stavros, if you will. I mean, like I said, there's nothing really much to talk about them because they didn't really do much except ship in a very important package in. So there's that. Next, I want to introduce you guys to another bad guy, which I'm fond of. His name's Tommy. I would talk more about what he deals with, but you'll find out as more episodes come along, and I don't want to spoil it for you. But Tommy is a very good bad guy, in my opinion. It helps that he has a scar. The scar is pretty nice, too. I think most bad guys should have scars. That's just my opinion, but they help. Okay. Let's talk about Morgan and the Buy More and Chuck's house. Apartment, not house. It's definitely not a house. Now, in this episode, we see a lot of Morgan hanging out in the theater room well after hours at the Buy More. And in previous episodes, we see him hanging out with Chuck at Chuck's apartment all the time. So that begs me to question. While Morgan lives with his mother, and I put lives in quotation marks because does he actually live with his mother? I mean, does he just does he not just sleep at the Buy More or Chuck's apartment? It seems like he just lives at either the Buy More or Chuck's apartment, and he just never takes a shower or something, I guess. Because that hair seems like that would be greasy hair. His hair seems like it would be very greasy. But I don't know. It's weird. You always see Morgan at the Buy Mall. He's always either at the Buy Mall or he's either at Chuck's apartment. Never anywhere else. So he's got a lot going for him. That Morgan guy. He's got a lot going for him. We can talk about the guitar pick mic and the ingenuity of Chuck with the guitar pick mic. But first off, CIA, if you're listening to this, because I know you're fans of Chuck. Why wouldn't you be fans of Chuck? But don't put a microphone in a guitar, not pick, not guitar pick mic, but a guitar like what's that word? It's a brochet? No. What is that word? Pin? We'll just call it a pin for now until I can remember the word. But a guitar pin mic? No. No. Don't do that, CIA. Don't do that. That's terrible. If I was a bad guy, I would notice that right away just because I would think that person is literally either insane for wearing a guitar pin mic like that, or they're automatically a CIA agent. So, just a heads up for you guys. Don't do that. It doesn't look cool like you think it would. But anyway, now that I've made fun of the guitar pin mic, let's talk about Chuck's ingenuity with it. Chuck, faced with a decision to go after his girlfriend, or after the bad guy in this episode, has to think fast on his feet. Has to go for the bad guy. So what does he do? Tries to get in VIP. And they're like, heck no, this is VIP. And the reason you were in VIP is because of Lou. And now you can't get back in VIP. So what does Chuck do? He sees a drink tray heading their direction. He's like, whatever, I got this. Takes that guitar mic off. Boom, tosses it in a drink. Everything. You can hear everything. And that's why Chuck is good at what he does. It's because he can think on his feet. He's very good at thinking on his feet. So just if you take anything away from the show, it's that ingenuity is important. Being able to think fast on your feet can help you in a lot of situations. I hope that's not all you take from the show, but if you do happen to take something from the show, that should be it. And that's why Chuck is a great person, not just because he cares for family and friends above everything else, but he can think fast on his feet. He can get stuff done quick. Bang, 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 bang. He's got stuff done. Just gotta give him a second to think it out. So that's what I have to say about Chuck and his guitar mic. So now I think I'm gonna include the package in the big shipment in the relationship stuff, because it kind of deals with that. So now we have come to the point where everything is about relationships in this episode. And by everything about relationships in this episode, I mean the rest of this episode will cover relationships, because there's a lot. There's a lot going on here. You got Chuck breaking up with Sarah, fake breaking up with Sarah. You got Sarah being jealous of that fake breakup, and Chuck getting together with Lou. Sarah being jealous of that too. And then you have, on a smaller note, Lester's attempt at wooing Sarah, and that one was really funny. You got Casey being able to sense that Sarah is definitely, how would I put it? Sarah's definitely got feelings for Chuck. And you've got Morgan and Anna, on a lesser note, starting a young blossoming relationship. And last but not least, you have my favorite moment of season 1, the kiss. You know what I'm talking about if you watch this episode. The kiss. Easily my favorite moment of episode 1. And I told you back at Chuck versus Sizzling Shrimp, that was my favorite episode of season 1. But there's my favorite moment of season 1 is in a later episode. It's in this episode, Chuck versus the Imported Hard Salami. And it's the kiss at the end. It's easily my favorite moment of the show. Because it's not something that Chuck instigated. That's all Sarah. Sarah leapt at Chuck in that episode at the end. She's like, hey, we're dying. I'm going to do what I wanted to do. And she lunges for him. And she kisses him. And it's a romantic, passionate kiss. Burns like 1,000 suns. Burns with the white hot intensity of 1,000 suns. So, that's my favorite moment of season 1. Easy, for sure. Because Sarah is literally saying at that moment, hey, I like you, Chuck. So, and we're about to die. So I'm going to do something that I haven't gotten to do yet. And she does. And then we have the O expletive moment. And I would say the expletive, but you have to mark your podcast as explicit language if you have a curse word or something in it. And I don't want to do that for just one word. Because I feel like marking it as explicit could drive some viewers away. So I'm not going to say the expletive, but it's an expletive for poo. So you know what I'm talking about. Bryce is back. You just thought he was dead. Casey thought he was dead. It's a pretty bad mark on Casey's reputation now. Killed somebody. Now they're back. He thought he killed somebody. He didn't finish his job. So let's delve into these relationships now that I've given like a brief overview of all the relationship stuff in this episode. So we'll just start from the beginning of the episode and go to the end. Alright. To begin the episode, we have Chuck telling Morgan he is going to break up with Sarah. And he does. He talks to Sarah in the theater room. Sarah tries to talk him out of it because she's a little jealous. And so they talk and talk and talk. And Chuck's finally like, hey, you told me there was no way we would get together under truth serum. Why would I waste time? I want a normal life. I want a normal relationship. And like I said in the last episode, I don't really fault him for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Why wouldn't you want a normal relationship? So there's that. And then we have Sarah going, fine. Since you seem so adamant about this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to let you break up with me. But I got to sell it. And she does something that shows how great of an actor Yvonne is. What she does just perfectly emulates how great of an actor is. Most people, she literally just cues up tears. Bam. Like that. Not a lot of actors and actresses can do that. But she can. She did it right there. She went from nothing to sad and crying. Boom. Like that. Bang, bang, bang. Real quick. Couple seconds. That shows the great acting range that Yvonne has. So, I mean, it's impressive. So what happens when they break up? Well, Chuck asks Lou out. That's why. That's what happens. And they start dating. And they before I go to them dating, I want to talk about Lester. Oh man. Oh, Lester asks Chuck if he can have permission to try and date Sarah. So what does Lester do as soon as they break up? He tries to get a rebound date with Sarah. And it is the most hilarious thing ever because he wants a rebound date. So Sarah acts overly sexual toward him and he flips out because Lester flips out easy. And his flip out is the greatest thing ever. She's throwing herself at him. and he is scared. He's scared. I almost said an expletive again. He's very scared. So he just runs away. He didn't really have an opportunity, but as far as he thought, he had an opportunity, and he just ran off. Poor Lester had a chance. Didn't really, but he thought he had a chance, and he ran off. So there's that. So now let's just dive into Chuck and Lou. Man, Chuck and Lou. I don't really hate Lou that much, and it probably has to do with the fact that she makes excellent sandwiches, and I'm a big fan of sandwiches, so that's why I have a hard time disliking her. And it's season 1, so you gotta know there's gonna be some will they won't they stuff. So I don't really dislike Lou. I know there's a lot of Chuck fans out there that dislike all the women in Chuck's life besides Sarah, and beside all the women in Chuck's life that he has dated besides Sarah. So, but I don't really have a problem with Lou. I definitely don't have a problem with Lou. She's not bad. So, and like I said, it's probably because she makes sandwiches, and sandwiches are the bomb.com. So, I don't really hate Lou, but I do enjoy the fact that their relationship only lasts 1 episode. If that makes me a bad guy, that probably makes me a bad guy. But I doubt a lot of you guys listening are like, nah, he's right. We're glad it only lasted 1 episode. But I don't know if they really would have made it. If Chuck had no Intersect in his head, he would have dated Lou for a while. In my opinion, I think he would have dated Lou for a while. So, obviously, what ruined Chuck's life, but his love life, especially with Lou, was definitely the spy life. All the lying, having to spy on her ex-boyfriend because they're afraid he's shipping a bomb into the country. I mean, come on, son. I mean, that's just terrible. That has to happen to them. Specifically Chuck. I mean, all he's sitting here trying to do is have a normal relationship, and what does the government want him to do? Not have a normal relationship. Spy on his girlfriend and his girlfriend's ex. It's just it doesn't work. But you gotta deal with it. Gotta deal with stuff. So the spy life takes Chuck and Lou over. It doesn't work out because of many factors, but mostly the spy life. Another small factor in their breaking up is Sarah's jealousy. And if you watched the episode and didn't see Sarah's jealousy, I don't think you actually watched the episode, because it was obviously there. Like, majorly there. So, what does Sarah do as soon as Chuck starts dating Lou? She flips. And she's not happy about it, because that's her. It's not just her asset at this point. It's Chuck, someone she really likes, and she likes spending time with him. And Chuck kind of not denounced her, but he rejected her a little bit. But I mean, even though he really didn't reject her, in her mind, I guess she thought he rejected him. He rejected her. But you could definitely sense some jealousy, whether it's her not thinking that they should break up, to spying on Lou, to walking into the club during the middle of the date to help him, to rescuing him early from his meeting with Lou. I mean, she was marching in way too soon to try and save him and stuff. So you kind of knew that she was pretty jealous this episode. And you could also tell that he was very jealous this episode because even Casey sensed it. I mean, sitting in the van outside the club with Chuck, or while Chuck was inside the club with Lou, Casey could definitely tell that Sarah was definitely closer to the asset than she should be. She was wanting to barge right in there and take everyone out to help Chuck and save him. But he didn't need saving, was the problem. He didn't need it. And she was just wanting to barge right in there, right there. And I mean, what else is he supposed to do? I mean, or not what else is he supposed to do? I mean, Casey's just like, hey, have you compromised yourself with the asset? Because you're acting like someone who has. She hasn't, but she really wants to, obviously. So there's something there. You can tell, as we find out later in the episode. She's definitely got feelings for Chuck more than just asset to handler feelings. And before I delve into the kiss, I'm going to talk about Morgan and Anna. Now, Morgan's feeling a little left out because not only did Chuck just break up with Sarah, he immediately got a new girl. It's Lou. So what does Morgan do? He's like, man, I should have a girl at this point. So he overhears Anna saying she prefers him over Jeff. And so what does Morgan do? Overreacts and tries to kiss Anna. And that's when she goes, hey, I just said I preferred you over Jeff. Doesn't mean I actually want you. And Morgan is obviously embarrassed. And then he tells everybody because he thinks Anna tells everybody. And he even gets his own pizza at the Sbarro named after him, called the Loser. Just cheese on a bread. It's a terrible pizza, if you didn't know. Terrible pizza. But funny. A funny pizza. But in the end, hey, Morgan and Anna, they hook up. Start dating. Even though Morgan does break it off. Because he thinks Chuck has broken off his relationships. But he is found out to be, he's going back to Sarah. And Morgan's preemptively broken up with Anna. Because that's what Morgan does. He preemptively does things. Because he's crazy. But that's why we love him. Because he's crazy. But he's a great friend. And that's about all I have for Morgan and Anna. Like I said, it was a pretty small relationship, part of the relationship topic. And now we've reached the kiss. In the clutches of death, thinking they're about to explode, Sarah launches herself at Chuck and kisses him. This is not Chuck launching at Sarah to kiss her. This is not Chuck and Sarah both deciding to kiss each other. Well, until the kiss has already begun, then they definitely start kissing each other. But this is all Sarah. This is 100% Sarah's decision. She goes, hey, we're about to die. I'm going to do what I wanted to. I'm going to do what I've been wanting to do for a while. And that's make out with this guy that I really like. His name is Chuck Bartowski, Charles Irving Bartowski. And she does it. Leaps at him, starts kissing him. Turns out the bomb was fake, but that kiss happens anyway, and they don't die. So you can tell how awkward things are going to get. Things were probably going to get awkward anyway. I mean, even Sarah says, this situation is, I'm glad we're not dead, but this situation is really uncomfortable right now. And obviously, Chuck with his quick wit is like, hey, it's not uncomfortable for me. I mean, you may not want to hear that, but it's not. I ain't gonna lie. But you could tell things were gonna get awkward no matter what. But you couldn't. There's no way you could foresee the awkwardness coming, the super awkwardness coming, until the big reveal of what was inside the timed box. And that was revealed to be Bryce Larkin. Alive. Not necessarily well, but alive for sure. And that's where things get interesting. Last time Sarah saw Bryce, she thought before this moment, Sarah thought Bryce was dead and he was a traitor to his country. Casey thought, hey, I killed the traitor to my country. Now they think, well, he is alive. Now they know he's alive, and they still think he's a traitor. So the questions are about to be answered for sure. It's the big reveal, definitely, and it's a good one. I commend the writers for bringing Bryce Larkin back like that. This is a good one. It was a good choice in my opinion. The writing was pretty good on that. So guys, we've made it. We've made all 30 minutes to the end of this episode of Chuck versus the Imported Hard Salami and the Intersect project. We've made it to the end of episode 9. Now, I want to talk about the length of these podcasts. I like around the 30-minute mark because I don't want to waste your time, guys. I know if you're listening to a podcast, this is literally you're taking 30 minutes out of your day to listen to this, or you're doing it as you work or something. So I don't want to take an hours to just discuss episodes with you, because I want you guys to listen to the podcast, but I don't want you to dedicate hours to the podcast. I want you got lives to live. I do want you to listen to the podcast, but I don't want you to I don't want them to be hours and hours. So I think these 30-minute episodes are about the length I'm wanting to keep them at. And I think that's about all I got for this episode, guys. Follow me on. Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to implement something new, something a little bit new for all you listeners out there. We've got 36 subscribers, which means we have 36 people listening each week, and we've got other people who listen to the podcast individually. I hope you subscribe, but other people listen besides the 36 that subscribe to the podcast. So I want to start implementing questions, I think a few episodes back I asked what was the first time you saw Chuck, or how did you watch it? But I think for this episode I want your opinion on The Kiss. What was your opinion on it? You've heard my opinion in this episode. What is your opinion on Chuck and Sarah's kiss this episode? You can put your answer on chuckaholics.com on the Intersect Project podcast page. There's a comment section down below, so go check that out and put your answer there, or you can tweet me your answer. I'm at ChuckRewatch33, capital C and Chuck. So those are the two places you can tell me your opinion on The Kiss. Follow me on Twitter at ChuckRewatch33, capital C and Chuck. I like to keep you guys updated on when new podcast episodes are coming out. Plus, I like to interact with all the Chuck fans. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. Check out chuckaholics.com, obviously. Check out NerfHerder Entertainment on Twitter. We got some big things. Hopefully we got some big things coming for you guys. That's about it, guys. So I'm gonna sign off, and remember, everybody loves Chuck. Some people just don't know it yet.